this is a weird kind of thing to jump
I've
into.
already hit
right
start
away.
stream, by the way, just so you know. You're
That's
good.
fine.
I just wanted to make sure you were aware.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand how monetization works because how is that okay? Am I right?
Look,
I
man,
mean, I might be wrong, but
monetization makes no sense whatsoever. You can get demonetized for nothing, and then you can get like no problem whatsoever. Like the one that I always point out is Rooster Teeth, right? I'm gonna retweet the tweet while we're talking.
Rooster Teeth is a perfect example.
Like they never seem to get demonetized. I mean, I'm sure they do sometimes. We just don't hear about it, right? But they never seem to get demonetized, and they have their regular podcast has them just popping them all day long. I don't get it, you know?
Must
Like
be
they can
nice.
say whatever they want. I mean, I guess it's because they're a big company, right? But like,
They probably make so much money for YouTube that if they did that, like demonetize them, that they would lose a lot of revenue.
but at the same time, like I don't think they super care, like Rooster Teeth, because they have their own website too.
Yeah, and they also probably get like a bunch of money from Patreons.
Yeah, I have no doubt that they don't care at all if they get demonetized. I mean, I'm sure it's annoying when it happens, but it's like whatever, you know?
Yeah, like oh no, got demonetized.
Yeah. Oh, what are we gonna do? But
I guess we gotta stop making videos.
I just noticed how like my beard's all scraggly today, and I look all flushed. I'm sorry, everybody.
I don't think that it looks scraggly, but I want you to know that the reason why I constantly do this in front of my face is so no one has to see anything below here.
It feels scraggly today. I don't know why. It feels like it looks. Either way, I've retweeted the podcast. We are good to go. Hello and welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. My name is Trey,
And I'm Pattrick.
and with us, of course, is our wonderful guest Char.
Woo!
I came to laugh at you.
Thank you, Char.
Yes, who's
Appreciate
back?
that input.
Again.
Andrew is out of town on work. So, oh, thanks, man. So, he is not able to be with us tonight. I am sick and heavily medicated. But we're gonna do this just fine. I may have to turn my camera off at one point and do a breathing treatment because I don't have a lot of air. But we're gonna have a good time regardless. It's gonna be a fun podcast. We don't have a lot of news to cover, so we're probably gonna cover a topic, and those are always fun. That's Pat's favorite thing to talk about. So,
Absolutely.
but
Actually, I'm going to
go ahead,
add something
please.
to the news.
Okay,
and I'm going
please.
to talk about it briefly
yes, please go ahead.
because you're probably not going to want to talk about it too much.
I love talking about the things you want to talk about.
Okay, now you're just trying to butter me up. You chill out over there. I'm too flattered.
Shar, what are your thoughts about Pat's wonderful topics?
That's impossible. That was a direct hit.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, wow.
Even
That makes me
Shar's
feel
in
really
support.
good.
I tried to
Makes me
find
feel
some more
wonderful.
Shar lines to add to the soundboard, and the only one that I found was "I came to laugh at you," and I was like, you know what? That's a good one though.
There's nothing wrong with being laughed at.
Yeah. So with that in mind, do you want to continue our conversation with demonetization, or do you want to go straight to your week? Because I'm good for
we
either.
can.
I'm good for either. Andrew's not here to stop us today. It's funny
We could
because
banter all day long.
like I'm supposed to be the one that is keeping us on track because I'm the host, right? But Andrew is always the one that keeps us on track, except for his own week, where I have to
Yeah.
keep him on track. But other than that, like he's the dad of the team, right? Like
It's kind of obvious.
he's the one who keeps us like straight. But without him here, oh man, we just go.
The podcasts with just the two of us are interesting because the docket kind of is a suggestion. It's
Yeah.
not really a
Yeah.
guideline. It's more of a
Absolutely.
suggestion.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, demonetization makes no sense to me. So like
No.
a big one back in the day, I say back in the day, as in like 2 years ago on YouTube, I guess. When you talked about Fire Emblem, if you mentioned the name Sigurd, which was also a problem for me with early videos because it's the name of my character in Final Fantasy 14, YouTube thought you were saying cigarette, and you would get demonetized.
Oh my god.
Why the word cigarette gets you or used to get you demonetized? but the act of lighting a cigarette did not. I do not know. I don't understand YouTube's algorithms where they were like, "You said cigarette? Excuse me? What are you doing? Sit down." And it's like, "Oh, you're smoking? That's fine."
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Uh,
So my big thing is like you see YouTubers that put out content where they're like cursing or
Yeah.
like saying things really inappropriate things and stuff like that, and they don't get demonetized.
Nope.
And it doesn't make sense to me because people like some of the YouTubers that I watch, like in specific, Mini Lad, which is one of my
He
favorite
got an
YouTubers.
award this week, by the way.
He did. We can talk about it if you want.
Yeah.
I'm super happy for him. I think that he deserved it as well.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his content, but man, dude's working at the same table we are, and he's done a great job with it. So
Yeah, I mean, he gives a lot back as far as like just donating money and his time. The foundation that he's the one of the executives of, it's a huge deal in my opinion, because when you have an opportunity to raise money for other people, I feel like you really should.
Absolutely, I agree.
And he does that and more, because he's made several trips to third world countries that are struggling with water, and he's helped build wells for them, and that's super cool, man.
I agree.
But his content, in my opinion, is really funny. I like a lot of his content. I think he's a funny guy. But 90% of his content is demonetized.
Yeah.
And it's because of stupid stuff.
Yeah. Well, and let's use, for instance, a YouTuber that I follow, Nuxtaku, who makes anime videos. It really depends, but like he had a big thing about he's been making this series lately of the best plots in hentai, and whether you watch hentai, everybody knows what hentai is, right?
Yeah.
But he's legitimately talking about the plots of the shows, and they're not stories that I care to watch, so I haven't been watching those videos. But he put out a big thing about how like these 2 got demonetized, but these other 4 did not. And it's like these 4 probably, YouTube, what are you doing? They probably should have been, right? But these other 2 were, man. And it doesn't make sense why. I don't get it.
That's where you get into the argument of like, should you let a computer make that decision, or should you have a team of people making those decisions?
Yeah.
And I understand there's probably in the millions of YouTube channels out there.
Yeah.
And it would be really difficult to determine which ones are being monetized and not on a regular basis, because so much content gets put out. But at the same time, oh, okay. When a mom and dad,
have you ever seen Digimon? If you've seen Digimon, the main character Tai, right? There's an episode early on where Kakutorimon lands on his head. That's a hentai. So like where it gets really weird for me too is like the computers autoclaim it, and then you can counter it, right? You can say, hey, this is not correct. This is not a good claim. The one that always sticks out to me is when Gundam Game Day got claimed that one time for the launching animation in GBO2. Something that, all told, we had probably done, I don't even know how many, at least 100 times, right?
Yeah.
And it had never been claimed. That one specifically got claimed. And so I reached out to YouTube, and they released the claim, and everything was fine. But maybe that bot needs to be a little less zealous, you know?
Yeah, or if you're gonna let a bot do all of that work, it needs to be monitored. Like, you can't have it just let it do its thing. You have to have a team of people that are constantly monitoring it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that bot probably makes a second decision if somebody, tries to just
his name's not spelled that way, King. I want to put it in chat. His name's spelled like this. That's Ty. I think the problem comes down to copyright.
Yeah.
Because it's the same bot. And so it's flagging it for demonetization, or it's flagging it for copyright. And it's so loose. And YouTube has taken steps, absolutely. The most recent one was, for instance, we had an entire Dragon Quest XI stream that got claimed because of a single song that played, right?
Yeah.
And Now, back then, I had to download the whole thing, cut out that one song, and then re-upload the whole thing. Now you can just mute that one song separate. But yeah, and as Band points out, YouTube itself doesn't really make money. It's all about the advertisements. But you know,
But at the same time, whenever you know that your company is allowing people to make money,
yeah,
you should make sure that it's a little bit more fluid, because otherwise people like Minilad, for example, who are trying to who do this as a career, have to resort to other means to be able to afford their stuff, when people like, and of course this is an extreme, but like people like PewDiePie, for example, who puts out content that a lot of times could be a little sus, is barely ever demonetized and is almost always on trending.
Well, this is why so many YouTubers are going to Twitch.
And that doesn't surprise me at all. And like they're doing more tours, and they're having to do more live streams that include like Patreons and like donations, because that's the only way that they can ensure that they're going to get money.
I think that kills the creative thing that YouTube is built on.
Yeah.
It's such a problem for me when it's, well, if you can't make money on YouTube, then just go stream. Like, well, there's other content on YouTube that's not just streaming.
Exactly.
Like Shadiversity, who does all of the wonderful history videos that he does. His book is what allows him to keep making stuff on YouTube, basically. Yeah. Because the book sold well enough. You have people like Mahler, who, go ahead, chat. I know, I'm just a big Mahler fanboy. I know. Mahler, who does like long form critique. You couldn't do that on Twitch. You know, it's a very different thing. So
I will say too, and I mean, I hate to continue to just like fanboy Minilad right now, but that's why I like Minilad.
Chat, get on it.
Yeah, go for it.
If I'm a Mahler fanboy, let's get that moniker out there.
We'll see Minilad's live streams. Almost all of them go towards his charity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's important to me, I guess. So it's really cool to see that, like, and like his tour, he's going on tour right now. And he called the tour the Demonetized Tour, simply because it's an ongoing joke, even with his fans, that every video will be demonetized.
Yes.
And to me, that's really cool, because he refuses to let that be the reason why he doesn't stop making content.
Yeah. I just got to point out, fans got my back. Mahler is pretty awesome.
His comment's very interesting.
It is, yes. Look, I'm just gonna say, if they made a Mahler body pillow.
Oh god, let's all right, let's talk about weeks.
How's your week been, Pat?
Hey guys, have you been playing Mario Kart Tour? I
have not. No. I've heard really bad things about it. I've heard that it's the worst gacha that's ever been. Jim Sterling put out a video called Garbage Nintendo's Garbage MOBA for Garbage Mario Kart that I did not watch because it sounded like it was a very opinionated piece instead of an actual breakdown. And then I've heard that it's very difficult to get characters you want.
That's true. It's by far a gacha. I mean, it's a gacha and a half, it feels like.
Yeah.
I will say, since I don't have to pay to get characters, like you get them at a kind of decent rate, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
And it kills time. I mean, let's be real. It kills time really fast. I think the driving mechanics could be better, even for a mobile game, because I've played mobile games that have, like, for example, an analog stick on the left side of the screen and then buttons on the right side of the screen.
Yeah.
And I don't see why they couldn't have done that. Instead, they did it in portrait mode, and you have to like drag the screen to the right to drift right, or drag the screen to the left to drift left. Now there is a tilting setting that some people don't know about, that you can tilt the screen and it will, just turn a little bit instead of full drift.
Okay.
But in most scenarios, when you're walking with your phone or doing whatever with your phone, you're not going to be able to tilt your phone as easily. I don't want to sit here and say that it's great because I'd be lying, but it's kind of fun. So I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I play it kind of regularly. I've gotten pretty far as far as like the tracks, like the tours that they have available.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me. Am I upset that I still haven't got Yoshi? Absolutely. It's driving me insane because all I want to do is drive as Yoshi. And once I get Yoshi, I'm not going to care if I don't get the bonuses for having this specific character or not. I'm going to drive as Yoshi because that's Yoshi's my boy.
Makes sense.
But I do still enjoy it. Whether or not it's good, I think it's fun. So since it's free, obviously I say give it a try.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy the game, then just don't spend the money.
I will tell you, I have no desire whatsoever.
I mean, I don't.
I have been burned so badly on gacha, and like I almost went back to Fire Emblem Heroes because of the Three Houses stuff, and I stopped myself. I have no desire to play any more gacha.
Part of me wants to re-download that game now.
It's I mean,
I'm not going to.
Byleth is in there. They're adding more and more Three Houses.
I'm not going to.
Dedeu's gonna be in there at some point, man. But no. I don't think, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't think Nintendo does a good job of gacha at all. And don't get me wrong, gachas are so hard to balance anyway.
Hello?
But can you hear me?
Okay, the world froze for me. Hardcore.
Oh, that's really odd. I just don't think Nintendo does a very good job with gacha. I think Dragalia Lost is probably the best one because it actually has like a decent story along with it. But even then, Dragalia Lost, I'd burn down on it really quick. I don't know. It's gacha with Nintendo just doesn't seem to work for me.
Which is weird to me because I feel like they make enough money as it is.
No, King.
No. We're not gonna do that.
GBO2 is not going to pull me back in, especially since it has the official Western release this week, which means you'll be able to buy coins. No.
Is this better? No.
Anyways. No. Also, Pat, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I added a new thing to the stream that I thought about adding last week and decided not to do, and this week I just decided to do it. And
Let
so
me pull
now,
up the
I can just tell you if you want.
I'm pulling up the stream. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Also,
it's gonna be weird hearing our voices doubled, but go for it.
Fan pointed out that Mario has a 1 in 100 chance to unlock, which is really interesting. I thought for sure he'd be the first character you got.
I got Toadette.
Well, there you go.
I didn't want Toadette.
And see, that's my problem too, Band, is I also have really terrible impulse control. And
I
so
see what you added, and I'm happy.
I think it looks
I
good,
think
right?
That's beautiful. That was a great idea.
It has led to me going, I don't need to play those games. Because I
Yeah.
know I can't control. It's the same reason why I don't play casino games where you can put real money in. Because I know what will happen. I spent 4 hours in the Dragon Quest XI casino. I know what will happen if I can put real money on the line, so I don't do it. How's it going, Nathan?
At least you know at least you know.
Yeah.
You know?
I know my weakness.
You know.
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like I have to have like 8 fans.
We have 451 fans.
I was about to say, I was like, good thing we have over 400.
Yeah, we hit 451 subscribers, Pat.
That's so insane.
We're
I just
really
want
close to
everybody
500
know in
now.
chat. I absolutely adore all of you. And the fact that y'all enjoy watching a few guys just sometimes talk about nonsense makes me feel like there's still really cool people out there in this world because we're running out of them.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a cool person. Like and subscribe.
Shut up, King. The Gag Cannon's not in that game. No, don't do this to me, Pat. What's the next thing in your
Do
week?
not pursue. So I've been watching this Netflix original called Big Mouth.
Okay.
Now, the show is about going through puberty as a kid.
How can I not spell?
And I think that it does it really well. Like, in a weird way, they like display what going through puberty is like for both men and women, according to the women I've talked to that have seen the show.
Okay.
Apparently, it does it really well. Like it's pretty accurate as to how you feel about certain situations and things like that.
Yeah.
And going through the experience of becoming an adult. So the show is mainly about Nick and Andrew, which are two kids who are best friends, and
Andrew's in
they're
this?
they're they're going through life and having to deal with going through puberty at the same time, and it's really cool. Sometimes it gets political, and up until recently, I haven't liked to get political.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to like see the politics that's in TV, unfortunately. But besides that, even some of the political jokes are really funny. But outside of that, it's just really good in my opinion. It's a really good depiction of what puberty is like. At least it was for me as a young lad.
Yeah.
And season 3 is about to come out, so I'm watching season 2 because I have just like not really spent a whole lot of time with it.
Yeah.
And it's still really funny. So it is like not for children, obviously, because they show genitalia sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't show it to children. But it specifically says that in the rating for it on Netflix. I think it's rated R technically.
Well, there you go then.
But it's really funny. So if you have some free time and you want to watch something really stupid, and give it a shot. I'm sure you're already paying for Netflix anyways.
Most of us are.
Yeah. Now the last thing I want to talk about, yeah, that's a comment.
That might get us demonetized.
Yeah. So as you guys know, I've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Been having to study, and then my internet was down for like, it ended up being like 5 or 6 days, which was a huge pain. Shout out to Suddenlink. Well, the dude
No,
tried
you're
to act
good.
like
I understand. You're
he
good.
tried to say I didn't know what I was talking about, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're you must have switched out your modem." And I was like, "No, I've been using the same modem for over a year and a half now." No, well, the MAC addresses don't match up. And I was like, "Well, the entire city that I live in got a power surge."
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's a possibility that the system got messed up and it went back to the original MAC address, to the one that y'all have been trying to keep charges for that we don't own anymore.
Ah.
And he was like, "No, you had to have changed your modem." And I was like, "Do you want me to show you the receipt? Like, I have the receipt. I can pull up the receipt. Don't play with me, dude. Like, I know what I'm talking about."
Right.
And he was like, "Don't worry, sir. I'll handle it." It took him another day to fix it. And I wanted to like run down there and yell profanity in their store, but I didn't.
You didn't.
But yeah, that wasn't anything. But today, actually, earlier this morning, it's probably not a mystery that I don't like my job.
You've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah. Don't work in retail, kids.
Char, how do you feel about Pat's job?
Blame this on the misfortune of your birth.
I couldn't agree more.
What I thought.
I couldn't agree more. Honestly, don't ever work in retail if you can.
Yeah,
retail really sucks.
100% agree.
If you have to, I understand, but retail really sucks.
I worked in it for 10 years. I super understand if you have to, but
yeah, I've officially hit 4, and I just want to throw something. But
there you go, man.
Ooh.
That's good. That's not a bad idea.
Wait a minute here. I got a phone call this morning, and I was told I had an interview for a job that will make my resume look fantastic.
Nice.
So fingers crossed. I have an interview in a couple of days, and I will be more than happy to give everyone an update when that happens. I'll definitely tweet about it on Twitter, because if I get the heck out of there, I'm gonna be clicking my heels. And then I know that I was gone for 2 weeks, but there's a possibility that I may miss a podcast in 2 more weeks. Like in 2 weeks coming, I might miss that Monday.
That reminds me, I haven't even told Pat yet. I am not going to be here next week. I have work.
On the 7th.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha. So that's okay.
either you guys, or if you guys can't, then we can do a late one, or I could do a late one. But I have work until like 9.
Gotcha. I understand. So on the 14th, I may not be able to. I will be going to a music festival for the first time ever in my life, which is really exciting.
Nice.
One of my favorite bands of all time that may not be performing any longer soon. Yeah. I will get to see them, and I don't know how to control my excitement.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can tell.
I'm excited for you, buddy. I also may not be here this first week of November, almost in January. I had told Pat, but some friends are wanting me to fly out, spend some time with them in North Carolina, and I booked those tickets this week, so I will be heading out there that week, and will bring my laptop, so I should maybe be able to still call into the podcast.
That's super exciting.
How's it going, Angel Aris?
But yeah, that's basically my 2 weeks. I've been working and studying like crazy, and I don't feel like I've gotten very far with either one of those things. So there you go.
So in my week, there's been a lot of stuff. So we'll hit not a lot of like time put into anything, but a lot of different things. So we'll start off with some Kamen Rider. Watching still every week's episode of 01 as it's coming up, having a good time there, enjoying ourselves. The 01's plot with the Huma gear that I've mentioned before, it still hits really hard when the Huma gear want to help people and then get aren't able to help people. It's pretty serious, I guess is the word for it, and it's balanced by the comedy of the main character, who I've really come around on. Aruto's a good character, and on the side characters as well. I think they're pretty good, but man, it's still really heavy every time it happens. But
it's understandable.
I've also started Kamen Rider Drive, and if you are interested in watching my thoughts per episode on Kamen Rider Drive, follow my Twitter. There's a thread there, because I was asked to document my journey through Drive, and I really like Drive so far. I'm 4 episodes in, maybe 5. I don't know how I feel about the shift cars. I think the idea of like you put the car into the wristband, and then flip it up and close it again, it's pretty interesting. I really like the belt. Pat, this isn't the first episode, so I'm going to tell you this. You know how every Kamen Rider, they use the belts, right? To transform? This belt is alive!
Wait, what?
And it's a character in and of itself.
Like each one?
No, this belt in particular is alive and speaks.
That's pretty dope.
Also, what makes it even more fun is because Kamen Rider Drive is about like the theme is vehicles, right? But it's more specifically, it's about gear. And King, please don't accidentally ban people again. The recurring gag is Drive himself, Shinosuke, whenever like he's ready to go, whenever he's ready to fight, his brain's in top gear. And so like he'll straighten his tie and then get back to it, Also, I think everything just froze while I'm talking. We'll see if it catches up here. I have to restart the Discord. It caught up. We're good.
I still hear you.
Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. The actual like tire theme around his medal, and he does. The belt says type speed, And then he's got this car, and it's called Try to Run, and it's pretty good so far. The only thing I don't like about it so far is the villains. The villains are kind of just eh. But I've been told the villains wind up being really good, so I'm excited.
That's awesome. I hope it gets better for you.
And then after I finish Drive, I'll start Ghost, and depending on how I feel about Ghost, I may skip it to get to Build, the one that everybody seems to watch. So
I'm really glad that you liking the shows. I mean, I haven't seen any, but it makes me interested for
they're
sure.
so good, man. I want to get back to Tokyuger as well, the Sentai.
Mm-hmm.
Without fail, I watch that opening every single day. Tokyuger opening.
It's understandable.
Really good. But I like Tokusatsu. That's what I have found out about myself.
You know what song I find randomly getting stuck in my head?
What's that?
That "Put Your Hands Up" song.
The one
Everybody
from
put your hands up.
Everybody put your hands up.
That it'll be like 2 weeks from now, and I'll be doing something, and then all of a sudden, like my head will just be like, "Everybody put your hands up," and I
leave that to Nightbot.
I lose it.
Nightbot will ban people. Yeah, man, that's from Death Parade. That's a good show.
I really need to watch it.
You should also watch Tokusatsu. It's good. After that, I finished Link's Awakening. That's not how you spell awakening. Hands, thanks. Finished Link's Awakening on Switch, the remake.
How'd you like that?
It still has the same boss that it always did, which is good. I was afraid they were going to change the boss. There was a part of me that kind of wanted them to, because I don't really like that boss, but the other part of me is like, there is coming a day when this is the only version of this game people will be able to readily play. So I'm happy they didn't change him for that regard. But I still think go ahead.
Boss, do you think the boss makes sense though? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I haven't played Link's Awakening, so I don't really have an opinion.
I will put it this way: the final boss is just a boss rush.
Ooh. Gesundheit.
Please tell me you guys didn't hear that. I thought I muted it.
You muted it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's not a bad boss rush. Like, it's done up in a really interesting way. It's why it works, But at the same time, it's just not a hugely enjoyable boss fight. It's kind of a bummer. And it's really the main reason why that game is, so good in the first half and then bad in the back half. I just thought about. I didn't mean to spoil that for you, Jen. That's currently playing that. That I am sorry about that. I didn't even think about the fact that, because again, in my brain, the game's been out for 20 years. I apologize, but it's still a really solid game. I just think the end of the game is the weakest part, which a lot of Zelda games are like that. Let's be honest, but it's still a really enjoyable game. There's a lot more that I have to do in it still. I still need to get a lot of the side stuff done, but it's really fun still.
I was thinking about picking it up, but I heard that at first it might have had some issues.
It does have some performance issues, but Jen and I did a little bit of a test. There definitely are less, it seems like, on the digital version. Oh, that makes me feel a lot better. Thank you, Jen. But at the same time, they are still there. But once you're in an area, you won't have those problems. It's just entering the area where the frame rate happens. Other than that, you're fine.
So you just have to wait until it's over and then you're good.
Kind of, yeah. And if you're on the digital version, it really seems to be just coming out of houses for the most part. Or if you have two areas load in at the same time, like if you come up from one area and you have two different areas on the screen, then it seems to be a problem.
But... So I know it'll be a little bit of a rabbit hole, but has the more powerful Switch come out yet?
The Switch Lite, yeah.
No. I thought the Switch Lite was the
Well, it's not more powerful, but that's the version that came out. So the talk for a long time was that that was the discussion. But instead they made the Switch Lite. So
they never made the more powerful one?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Because I'm still curious as to if that's actually going to be a thing, because I'm almost certain that we wouldn't see those types, and I mean, it's unfortunate, but we probably wouldn't see those type of issues on a beefed up version if they made one.
Yeah, you're probably right. And yeah, the Switch Lite does have a longer battery, which is really nice. And it has the Joy-Cons that are turned in. So it takes up less space. It is really good, the Switch Lite. It's really solid. My biggest issue with it is that the Switch is all I need right now.
Yeah.
You know, yes, more battery would be great, but I play it most of the time docked. And then
that's why I thought they were going to make a docked only version.
Jin says they are working on a stronger version. So maybe so.
I'm surprised that now that they've made a handheld version only, that they're not at least talking about. I mean, I'm sure they probably have talked about it, but having a docked only version that's more powerful.
The problem is the devs' fault. Oh, really? Also, don't forget, in Japan, the handheld version, the Switch Lite, is way more popular.
I'm sure, because they're constantly on the move.
Not just that, but let's say, for instance, you're on the train, you're on the rail, and you've got your Switch. But what if your Switch was like this much of the Switch instead? You know? Or you could turn the handles in, and so your arms were able to come back in closer. There's a lot of better options that the Switch Lite has for travel. The devs didn't optimize it. See, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I did not see how this game could be more draining on the Switch than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or Astral Chain, which has so many particle effects all at one time. It just boggled my mind that Link's Awakening would be more powerful or take more resources than them. Or like Breath of the Wild. Please go ahead, Ben.
I'm worried that this is going to lead to the conversation we've already had, which is a conversation will probably never end, which is that was it a time issue and that they had to meet a release date so they couldn't optimize it because of that. And if that's the case, it's just going to go back to that same conversation we had where it's a stupid and rough situation. Like, the release date shouldn't be so important if you could take the time to optimize the game and make it a better experience.
100%. As we'll go back to Satoru Iwata's quote, which is that I'm going to paraphrase it, but which is dumb after saying his quote specifically, but that a unfinished game. Let me just look it up. I don't want to do it dirty. Please continue. I'll look it up.
I will say I agree with what King says too, that it would probably make sense for them to wait for the next gen to release a Switch Pro, because it'll make it even more competitive at that time.
Yeah.
Because the Sony and Microsoft are coming out with their new console, so
a delayed game is eventually good, but a rush game is forever bad.
Yep. I mean, look at Anthem.
Yep. When they don't want to upgrade the engine. Yeah, that also does happen. Absolutely.
That doesn't surprise me, though. I mean, you see games that they just kind of keep holding on to the same engine, and they don't want to upgrade for, I'm sure, cost effectiveness.
Yeah. You know what game does have a lot of particle effects but doesn't run poorly on the Switch?
What's that?
Taking this segue to move over to Daemon X Machina that I started this week. Mostly because I felt like Artaka was going to be here and would really be mad at me if I hadn't played some of it. But I found myself actually really enjoying it. It plays really well. I don't super like the combat, but with as much boosting around as I'm doing, as much flying, and as many enemies are on the screen, it really feels like it should be running poorly, and it's not. Which is a good feeling.
Absolutely.
The main thing that I like about it is the parts collecting. So there are a lot of enemies on the map that when you kill them, they just drop more ammo, which is fine. But there are specific enemy types that when you take them out, they fall to the ground, and you can go over and salvage something from them. Either a piece of equipment or a piece of armor.
Games do that.
And it will tell you if it's a part you already have or not. The part will be white if you already have it, or yellow if you don't. And so there are situations where you take down an enemy and you go collect a part, and you see, this is a cool new weapon you don't have, but there's a better chess piece that has better stats. And it's, oh, which one do I choose? And that also happens with bosses, where you can get boss weapons.
That's awesome.
So it's a really fun system. I do think the story is kind of bad right now.
Ooh.
Mainly because like it's a cool idea, right? You're a mercenary and there's all these mercenary teams. But at the start of every main mission so far, for the most part, they have gone, all right, here's a different team you haven't met. Here's 3 of the people from either that team or 2 from one team and 1 from another. And now you get to meet them and here they are. And they just kind of push them towards you. And some of them are okay. And some of them are terrible.
That's really unfortunate.
So, like, I meet this one team, and this guy's just like, yeah, you know, I'm just here to collect a paycheck. And I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. And this other girl's like, I wish I was dead.
Oh.
And I'm just like, what? Huh? And she says,
so dark.
She says, it'd be better if we were all dead. And I'm just like, okay, I guess. I just want to go get some more parts, you know? I just want to collect some more parts. And then you like launch into the mission and it's just kill 40 enemies. And there's like 40 weak enemies and you kill them all. And, okay, time for the next mission. Meet some new characters. And it's like, oh, okay. I do like some of them. I like some of them for sure. Johnny G is really fun. He wants his own code name. Everybody else has got these cool code names and he just wants a code name. But nobody will give the man a code name.
That's a horrible feeling.
That's
gotta be the worst feeling in the world. Everyone's got a really cool code name, and you're just Julian. What is his name? George?
Johnny G.
Johnny G. Oh,
he's on a mission with Diablo, Nero, and then my character, and he's just Johnny D. Johnny G over here.
Johnny G.
So,
dang.
Yeah, I'm with Band. Like, I can put up with a lot if I get to break mechs and collect their parts. 100%. I don't mind if the story's bad. I do wish the story was better. But I could do the rest of the game without talking to, I think her name is Wraith, ever again.
I feel like it's easier to play a game that's fun with a bad story than to play a game with a great story that has really bad gameplay.
Yeah. 100%.
Because at that point, you might as well just watch someone else play it.
Absolutely.
Or watch the cinematics, because it's not worth your time.
No, Johnny G's just his name, man.
See, they should have called him Bravo, so they could have called him Johnny Bravo.
That's true. I will say, though, I got to fight a boss fight against actual, like, other mechs instead of just more AI. And those were piloted mechs, and so the characters in them were talking. And one of them was just your stereotypical crazy guy, which is normally my type of character, but it was kind of just whatever with this guy. The other one was this guy who's obsessed with cards. And so the one guy's like, can I take him, brother? And the card guy's just like, why don't you flip a card and find out? And I was like, okay, I'm in for this. This guy's cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's a dumb trick, right? Like, it's there just to make you go, all right, this guy's not bad. But, like, it worked. I'll fully admit it worked on me. I was like, yeah, I could mess around with this card guy some more. And at one point, like, you start fighting back and doing some good damage, and he goes, oh, you got a pretty good hand, huh? And I'm just like, yeah, I get that reference. Cool. Yeah, I'm in for this. The break edition of Gunner Breaker 3 is really... So, yeah, I'm going to keep playing more. One thing that I think is the best is when you salvage a part. If you didn't have a part in that slot before, it just auto-equips. So, at one point, I'm boosting around, and I'm fighting this regular enemy mech guy, and I take him out, and he's got boosters that help you dash better. And I have nothing on, I don't have any parts for that. And so I take those, and they automatically equip on the wings of my mech. And I'm like, yeah, I look cool, man. Also, I have my mech like in a custom color, and my character has a pompadour. There's a lot that I do, of course, right? There's a lot that I do like about this game. I just wish that, you know, I wish that the story wasn't, I think life would be better if we were all dead. It's like, no. Why? Why is that a thing, though? We don't need that. Why? So, yeah. I do like the game,
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Anyways, I don't know if I would get it, only because right now I don't have a whole lot of time to play much of anything.
Yeah,
But
you need to play Three Houses instead.
I still need to beat that game.
Yep, you sure do.
But I have very little time. It's frustrating. I'm hoping that during Thanksgiving break I can just like hardcore push through it.
Yeah. I guess I was gonna talk about Borderlands 3, but I guess I could talk about Three Houses for a minute. I am still working on my second playthrough, which I will spoiler hands that, and I won't spoil anything for you. I'll just say that I am spoiler hands are up on that other route that I thought probably existed. And then I'll pull my spoiler hands down. But I still really like that game. It's really good. I have gotten to a point where I'm kind of skipping all extra battles at this point. Because
you know what's gonna happen.
Not just that, I'm playing on normal. And because I'm playing on New Game Plus on normal, my characters have gotten really strong. They're all already almost level 40. And I'm in chapter like 16.
So it's almost like they kind of knew that you'd want to just walk through it and
for the story, which is really good. That it fills me with confidence that I'll be able to beat it before Game of the Year, all 4 routes. But I was gonna do the other of the one that I thought I needed to do, but I think I'm probably gonna do Golden Deer after this, just to get a different feel. And I'm probably gonna go turning everybody into Wyvern Riders. Just to see if I can.
That'll be interesting.
Mostly because I've recruited almost everybody from the Golden Deer over the course of these last 2 playthroughs already, and already played with them as their default classes.
So you kind of want to just see what you can do.
Yeah, now I really want to mess with it, but it's still a really solid game. I like it a lot. And then Borderlands 3, been playing a little bit of it. Played a little bit of it with King today. I still like that game. I still think the story is not great. It's kind of got the Daemon Machina thing of shooting the guns feels really good. Seeing the numbers goes up feels really good. And like getting new cool abilities feels really good. But the story itself is kind of just in service to it. There have been some decent story moments so far. But, you know.
So would you say that it's what we thought it would be, which is just more Borderlands?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think there's been a lot of quality of life changes that have made it probably the best of the 3 to play.
As far as gameplay?
Yeah, even though I still think the first one has the best story. There are some interesting developments over the course of this one so far. But, you know.
I'd be lying if I said I had a desire to play it, and I really don't. I have a desire to play Borderlands.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I haven't even played the first one.
I will tell you that I think that my character is extremely overpowered for solo play. I have now gotten to the point where I can summon my rack every 20 seconds, and I have 3 charges of them. And they do 462 damage apiece, and there are 4 of them that come out for every charge.
So you can just rock and roll.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep. My pet has incredible defense. And so my countess runs out there and distracts the enemy, and then I just throw rack at them until they die. Yeah, no, it's I do a lot of, I don't take a lot of damage. I die really quickly, but I do a lot of damage. I do think
I'm still listening.
In some ways, I think this game will be like infinitely better when the Game of the Year edition rolls out and has the new characters that I'm sure they'll add and all the new DLC and everything. And I almost want to tell, like, for instance, you and Jen both have no desire right now. Just wait and get the Game of the Year edition when it comes out, honestly, because it's going to have all the bugs fixed, hopefully, and we'll have a bunch of more content in it.
It'll be cheaper.
Yeah, there's no reason not to wait if you don't have any great desire to play it right now. I'm happy that I picked it up, but...
Well, I will say, I feel like Borderlands is one of those games that's just fantastic gunplay. Like, the guns feel tight all the time. when I play that game.
Yeah.
I haven't played a whole lot of Borderlands. I've only played Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
So, I want to make sure I make that clear. But I will say that I feel like Borderlands 2 has fantastic gunplay, and I would assume that that's throughout the entire series.
It's only gotten better in 3.
And that doesn't surprise me at all, in the slightest.
I do think, too, that this is the best one when it comes to building characters, because like King's pointed out in the chat, he's playing that same character, but he's got a completely different skill set, basically, than I do. He basically can't die. He has so much health regen, he basically can't die.
Wait, it's not on PC yet?
No. Well, it is on Epic Games Store. It'll be on Steam in about 6 months.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, it'll be on Steam in about 6 months.
Then I might be with Jin on that one too. Like I might just wait for the 6 months. I still don't know. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I don't know.
You. I don't blame you one bit.
Am I wearing tan shorts? No, I'm actually wearing gray shorts.
Oh, gotcha.
Close.
Gotcha.
Close. I mean, I'm more like the shooter for me this year is gonna be Modern Warfare.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm getting it on PC, which is gonna be the first time I've ever played a Call of Duty game on PC.
Yeah.
I'm kind of nervous because I know how good I am on console, and I don't think that I'll be that good on PC, and I'm not that good on console. So
yeah,
but we'll see.
Well, and to Ban's point in the chat, there's more stuff we're going to talk about with Gearbox and Randy Pitchford tonight.
Oh,
so I don't blame anybody that goes, no, I don't want to support them. You know?
Oh boy.
Oh no, you're fine, Jin. PC for us is also easily tradable for the word Steam. I understood immediately what you were saying.
Well, see, I mean,
I don't even have the Epic Games Store installed. Pat does, I think, and I know Andrew does, but I do not.
I still do, but that's because at some point I want to play World War Z again.
Yeah, which is Epic Games Store exclusive.
I will say, I also say use PC for Steam, but I don't expect anybody to like use Epic as a PC equivalent. So whenever you say it's on PC, I'm like, oh, it's on PC. I'm assuming that means Steam as well, because if it's on Epic, it's not on PC.
Right.
It's on Epic.
So, yeah, we didn't talk about that last week. That's a good point, King. So, the last thing for my week, before we move on, is that I am still leveling in 14, trying to get everything up to 80 for those breakdowns. Hey, there you go. Andrew and Pat both love that game. At some point when it's not on Epic Games Store, I'll pick it.
It's really good. I might be lying if I said it was bad. It's really good.
I have my Gunbreaker at 75 now, so I'm getting there little by little. Then I just have every other class that's not a tank, 1 healer and 1 DPS to get. It's slow going, but it's getting there. It's getting there little by little. I'm gonna get them all leveled up. So, I also have been helping a lot of new players lately, which is a reward in and of itself, you know. But like, I'll load in as a tank, and somebody will be like, "Please don't be like the last guy," and I'll be like, "Tell me what happened," and then I'll be like, "No problem. Let me explain why they said this." And a really, really cool healer in the very first dungeon of the game that was like, I couldn't keep him alive, and it's like, no joke, you're brand new. How could you? You know, we'll take it slow. We'll figure it out. And it's a good feeling to see people starting to play even this far after Shadowbringers, because they've gotten to the hype for Shadowbringers. And this is just me speaking directly to you, viewer. If you are one of those tanks, or you're one of those DPS, or you're one of those healers that goes, it doesn't matter how many people in this instance are new, because I've been in this instance forever, and I know how it plays, and they're all going to play the way I want them to. Take a second to breathe. Remember what it was like for you on your first run through that dungeon, and have a little bit of patience with them. Because all it takes is somebody giving them a chance. And they'll either learn or they won't. And if they don't learn, hey, that's a different story. But if they're trying to learn, cut them some slack. That's all I'm saying. That's been the FF14 corner with Trey.
And the soapbox is back under the chair.
Yeah. So let's talk about reviews.
Woo!
We'll get into the podcast proper here. We will talk about, that's not how you spoke West. We will talk about Dragon Quest XI S reviews.
See if I still have the magic from 2 weeks ago. You're muted.
I thought I unmuted though.
Thank you.
I am still sick, so I'm sorry, everybody. So, everybody knows how much I love this game, right? This was my game of the year last year. I didn't talk about it in weeks because I wanted to talk about it here, but I have also been playing Dragon Quest XI.
Not surprised.
I am a good little distance in now already. I've got a couple characters. It's really good. It's a really good game. You should play it if you haven't. But with that said, Pat, where do you think it currently is on OpenCritic?
92.
90.
That was not bad.
Really close. Now,
I almost said 90, but I was like, I feel like it's over 90. I really do.
it is. It's 90. Not over 90, but it is 90. Where do you think the recommendation is at right now?
100%.
100%, my man.
Be.
You are right.
It's got to be. Even the 10% of people that didn't give it a perfect score are going to recommend it.
So I will remind everybody that this game, even on PS4, was already being talked about as one of the JRPG greats for this decade. It is getting even more acclaim now.
I'm sure.
The 2D mode is amazing. It's really, really solid. The only complaint I have is you can't just switch between the two. When you go to switch, it takes you back to the last big story beat that you have.
It's probably because they have to load in a lot.
I'm sure. And they want you to be able to play that story beat in 2D as compared to 3D, or vice versa. The 2D also has no voice acting. But
that's kind of cool.
It is, because it's more of the old style game, right?
Yeah.
And they have put tons of work into everything. The video that went up on the channel today is the first impressions for the Switch version. And the first half of that video is in 2D, and the second half is in 3D, just to show the differences between that opening area. And I still like the 3D more. I'm probably going to play through all of this one on 3D as well, because I want to see the new story cutscenes with the voice acting and everything. But I definitely want to do a 2D playthrough at some point, because it looks really good. The only real complaint I have with the 2D mode is the encounter rate. So in the 3D mode, you can run around enemies instead of fighting them. In the 2D mode, you just get hit with them with random encounters. And it's okay, but I leveled up really quickly because of it. Basically, though, best game of last year, in my opinion. Maybe best game of this year, too. I mean, the guys don't want to let me sneak it in, but depending on how much content is new... Depending on how much content is new.
Best remake.
It could. You know, if we do that, it goes up against RE2 Remake and Link's Awakening.
Yep. And I don't have a stick in either one of those fights, so it's fine for me. I'm literally just gonna listen to both of y'all's side and be like, well, either y'all agree or you don't. If you agree, perfect. If you don't, I'm gonna be an unfortunate deciding factor.
The worst part is it would come down to Dragon Quest XI S versus RE2 Remake, and then Andrew and I both would have to admit that in a way, Link's Awakening Remake is better than both of them because it added a bunch of new content that made the game a lot better to play. Which is why
I'm not voting Fortnite ever. Just want you to know.
I want to remind everybody, while Andrew's not here to defend himself, that it is because of Andrew that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds wound up in our top 10 for 2017?
Yeah.
Because Andrew was like, I won't budge on this. You have to admit it made a difference in gaming. And I was like, but this is our list. We fought about that for 35 minutes just on that. Chase had to get up and leave.
It got really heated.
We had to take a break because we fought about that, and finally we just let him have it. You know what? It's one spot. We can give that spot up.
It got heated. I mean, to be
I agree with his argument. I agree with his
argument was 100% valid.
I just don't like it.
Oh man, what a year that was.
Yeah, that was a good argument there. If you guys haven't seen those, the Game of the Year discussions are an interesting thing. Anybody that goes back through those is going to be like, what happened to Chase? Well, he got busy and he had to leave. You know, it is what it is. But back to Dragon Quest XI-S. What do you think the reviews are saying here?
It's got to be positive. They're probably all saying positive things. You good?
I think Alexa's playing music. I'll be right back.
I'll banter.
Please go ahead.
I'll banter. All right, guys, it's my time in the podcast where I talk about nothing. First and foremost, thank you all for being here. I love all of you in the nicest way possible. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story because I feel like this is the best time to tell a story. I'm gonna tell you guys about the time that I went to Florida. Okay, now I've only been out of my home state twice ever in my whole entire life, and I'm sure none of you probably want to hear this, and that's fine. It just, you can mute this part and you can wait till Trey comes back. I'm literally just trying to waste space. So from where I drive. Okay, well, welcome back. Never mind, we're good. You don't have to hear the story now, guys. Sorry.
I did mute. Okay. Alexa was playing Money in the Bag by Drake. And I don't... Money in the Grave. And I don't know why.
Alexa was trying to get lit.
No idea. And the worst part is, it was playing it on the speaker in the back bathroom behind this wall. So something I said didn't set this one off, but set that one off.
It was like, man, look, if Trey's not gonna do it, I'm gonna throw a party up in this bitch.
So, yeah.
Alexa said, if I die, put my money in the grave.
No, Zeke was scratching his back. So, for anybody that didn't hear, Zeke got oil all over his back, and I had to shave him. Ooh. And now he has decided that without the hair, he's just gonna scratch it until it's red. So I had to put some stuff on it, and he hates it. And so he's mad at it and tries to scratch it off, but it won't work. It's medicine. I just realized I forgot to talk about my PlayStation account, man, in my week.
Oh, you should, yeah.
I'll do it after reviews. Okay. So what do you think, now that we're not listening to Money in the Grave? What do you think? Man, I don't even know how I heard that over like the noise. I mean, I know how. My ears are stupid, but like, everybody on the podcast would have been hearing it through the stream, and I wouldn't have. What do you think the reviews are saying about it? Think people like it? You think they don't?
For Dragon Quest XI?
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm sure they're probably saying, you know, it's a great remake. It's Dragon Quest XI. It's probably. I guarantee you that was in at least most of those reviews. It's Dragon Quest XI. That's what they said.
Would you like to guess how many of the 31 reviews that are currently on OpenCritic use that phrase?
It's got to be like 90%. I'm sure.
18.
Okay.
18 of 31 say the definitive edition of Dragon Quest XI, or it's more Dragon Quest XI.
So it's got to be what, 60%?
Yeah, it's the Dark Souls of Dragon Quest XI, basically, at this point.
That's totally true, by the way. I don't know if you saw the comment just now. King is totally right.
Yeah,
you can actually have Samuel L. Jackson be your Alexa voice.
I kind of want to.
Want
yeah, I kind of want to do that just for the fun of it. So, we'll move to the next set of reviews, and then I'll talk about what happened with my PSN. How do you think Code Vein is doing on review?
See, I can't remember what it was that y'all were telling me in the Discord about this, and I was gonna base my review on guess on that.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not gonna be close on this one. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess 77.
Jin guessed 91. Pat guessed 77. The answer is 74.
I wasn't that far off.
Yeah, you're pretty close, Pat. What do you think?
I almost said 75. That's crazy.
What do you think the recommended score is? You can see the red spot on his back if you look close enough because he's been scratching.
It's probably like 60%.
58%. Close again.
Why am I good at this?
I don't know, but you are very good at this.
Why am I good at this?
Bandit said
Okay.
85. Yeah, it's Code Vein is the Dark Souls of anime games. Yeah, that's what a lot of the reviews say. In fact, I'll just give you a couple of these that, again, just like Dragon Quest XI, right? A bunch of these have souls somewhere in them. Let's just go for it here. Destructoid. So far, Code Vein has been one of the more enjoyable Souls clones that I've played. There you go. Dual Shockers. Code Vein features anime vampires and fast combat, but is too reliant on the exact Souls-like formula to stand out on its own. For Extra Life. Code Vein is not Dark Souls. Game Informer. You can have fun with stylish anime accoutrements, but Code Vein leans far too heavily on the inspirations and fails to capture any of the associated magic. They didn't say Dark Souls, but you know they wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Inspirations of what? Dark Souls?
Kind of sounds like these reviews are just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, they really are. It's a lot of, hey, do you like Souls? Do you like anime? You should play this. And not a lot of, hey, this is what the game is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really unfortunate because I think a lot of people just got caught up in it's anime Souls and just kind of slapped that out there and said that's that.
Yeah.
Of all places, IGN is the one that's like, it takes some interesting chances with Souls-like mechanics and find mixed results, but there's something worth sinking your teeth into here.
So it sounds like somebody actually did a review.
Yeah, which is really weird, honestly,
IGN.
to me. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's because it's IGN.
Yeah.
If it had been anybody else, I say that lightly. If it had been anybody else, it might have been normal, but...
Well, and like Rock, Paper, Shotgun says the only good part of Code Vein is its combat. But for me, that turns out to be enough. And it's like, okay, that makes sense, you know? Like, from what I played of it, the combat was fine. It wasn't, like, great, but I also apparently, based on talking to King and then a couple people from the FF14 Discord, apparently I got really bad drops in my playthrough of the demo. Because they found some really cool stuff. They say combat's great. The story seems to be kind of just there. But the combat seems really good. And honestly, that's what you want from a Souls-like, right? Is good combat.
Yeah.
There is
What
that.
isn't a ripoff of Dark Souls nowadays, Jin?
I'm just imagining a 2K where you run around in a
Dark
3D
Souls.
environment and like it has the Dark Souls like UI, and so the basketball is on the right hand. And you have to parry and roll around enemies to be able to throw it to the hoop.
Trey would play that.
I would, absolutely I would. That's really what it seems to be though, is like, hey, do you like loot? Do you like Souls? Do you like anime? Here you go. And in a lot of ways, if you like loot and you like Souls, I think you're probably better off just playing Neo. But if you want the more anime style, then sure. It looks like I mean to pick it up at some point because I think it does look fun, you know, based on what I've already played and based on what I've seen. But I do think people are being really harsh on it for some reason.
Yeah. Now I will say I really hate when people say games do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, do you like this? You like that? There you go. This
Yeah.
is the game for that.
Absolutely.
because it really feels like they're not actually reviewing the game. They just played it for a few minutes and they're like, "Oh, that's what this is. Here you go."
Yeah. And as Jen's pointed out in the chat, I think Remnant from the Ashes is probably one of the more interesting Souls-like, right? It has the same style, but it's a completely different type of game. And I think they did a really good job with it. It's currently my... What spot is it in right now? It's currently my 9th favorite game of the year. Good game.
Pretty good.
With what's come out this year, yeah, it's pretty good. I said this last week with Andrew here, but do you want to know what my current top 10 is, Pat?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do my top 10, and we'll do the weird PlayStation
I can give you
thing
my
that
top
happened to
10
me.
and 2 if you want.
Sure.
I've actually played 10 games this year, guys.
Hit me
I've
with
done that.
Fortnite is the Dark Souls of enjoyment.
That's hilarious in the best way possible.
Hit me with your top 10 so far.
Okay. Let's see. Let me pull up this list.
You want me to go ahead with mine since I already have it listed out?
I've got it right here as well.
Okay.
So it's probably gonna go in this order. I have some that are like I'm still playing a good portion of them, so I don't want to like give it a score yet, but it's still on the list.
I feel bad for chat that already knows mine, but at least I get to hear yours now, Pat. And mine's changed since I beat Link's Awakening. Yeah.
So since I've only played 11 games, some of these games that are on here are not very highly rated. Just be aware of that, everyone. Okay. So number 11 is Far Cry New Dawn.
Okay.
And you know how much I hate that game.
I won't spoil too much. I'll just say Pat also put that on nominations for most disappointing.
Yeah, and it deserves to stay there. Number 10 is Archero, which is a mobile game.
Yes.
Which I have downloaded, deleted, and downloaded and deleted multiple times because I still find myself enjoying the game for a little while, but then I put it away.
Yeah.
And then I just like move it to put another game on.
That's fair.
Number 9. Sorry, I don't have these in like I don't have numbers.
Oh, you're
numbers
good.
written next to me, which I should. Number 9 is The Division 2.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people forgot that game came out this year.
Yeah.
Number 8 is World War Z. Number 7, Tetris 99.
Yeah.
Number 6, Apex Legends. Number 5, Wargroove.
Okay.
Still really like that game.
Yeah.
Number 4, Remnant of the Ashes. Or Remnant from the Ashes, sorry.
Yeah.
Number 3, NBA 2K20. Number 2, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. And number 1 is Judgment.
Okay. So mine, as I'm sure most of you probably remember from last week, number 10 is Link's Awakening. That's the new change. It kicked off Kingdom Hearts 3. Sorry, Kingdom Hearts 3. Number 9, Remnant from the Ashes. Number 8, RE2 Remake. Number 7, Sekiro. Yes, I know I put out that review basically bashing Sekiro for 35 minutes, but I still really like that game. Number 6, Bloodstained. Number 5, Dragon Quest Builders 2. Number 4 is Judgment. Number 3 is DMC 5, Devil May Cry 5. Number 2 is Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers. And number 1 is Jump Force. Oh, wait, I meant Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Clearly.
I don't see how Fire Emblem 3 Houses couldn't be in anyone's top 5.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too good.
And I say the same thing about Judgment. I think if you've actually played through the story of Judgment, you'll realize that it's probably one of the better games we've seen in a long time.
Which is why you need to play Yakuza.
That's why I'm going to keep playing Yakuza.
Yeah. So, my PlayStation account. We'll cover this real quick, and then we'll get back into the rest of the podcast. I got an email at about 2:45 today from Sony that was like, your PlayStation account ID has been changed. And I was like, what? And so I tried to log in, and I couldn't log in. And then I started getting emails in French. So I got a hold of Sony, their support, and started chatting with a guy. And he basically was like, hey, your account is gone. He's like, I'm going to do my best to get it back. I'm going to lock it and log out everybody, no matter what device. They're all logged out now. He said, but it's currently gone. He said, phone number that's attached to the account has been changed. Your ID's been changed. Your system itself was almost deactivated. And he was like, yeah, it's gone. And so I had to supply the serial number for the place where the account was made, which was the original PS3 that I owned. I had to give card information. I had to give years on when things were purchased. And basically at the end of all that, he was like, okay, I got the ID changed. You need to use a new email. Don't ever use that email address again for your Sony stuff. And I was like, okay. So I made a new email and got it changed over to that. And he was like, all right, I'm sending you a temporary password. Sign in with that and then make a new password. Okay, I'll do that. And then he was like, all right, we're going to enable two-factor verification now. And I was like, well, I had it on before. And he said, doesn't matter. So we turned it back on and we changed my phone number. And then he was like, all right, double check the store. And so I checked the store and made sure that nobody had purchased anything. And he was like, okay, good. Everything's back to normal. You got all this. Now you need to go through every single application and make sure they all boot.
Oh boy.
And so I went through every single application and made sure that they all booted. And they did. And so then I was like, hey, everything's good. And he was like, all right, we're good. Have a good day. Later.
So now, considering your history of getting your accounts hacked,
Yeah.
you may want to change your email address for all of them.
So funny thing is, I just recently changed it for Xbox because somebody tried to get that. Nowhere near to the extreme level, and I haven't even played my Xbox in forever. But I was like, I'll change it just to be safe, you know.
Mhm.
But I have now changed passwords or emails for basically everything that I own.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Over the course of the last 2 months between everything getting hacked. So,
It's rough, man.
yeah, I guess that's life, right?
I guess it's unfortunate that people need to stop being pricks.
Yep. So let's get into some game announcements and some release date announcements. Day of Dragons. I've started showing off less and less Kickstarter games until they're funded. I don't want people to feel like because I talked about something, they need to go check it out and go fund it. Day of Dragons was funded today. I guess it was funded like a month ago, but it finished today. It is basically a dragon simulator survival game where you play as the dragon. So you start as an egg and you hatch and you're a small dragon and you have to find things to eat, grow, and get stronger. But basically, basically, because I backed it, I'll have early access to be able to show it off late this month. And so expect a video on that. But it looks really cool so far. I'm very excited for it. And,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, you're fine.
Oh my gosh.
You're fine. It looks really good though. I think it's a good looking game. I really want to fly around as a dragon and burn some stuff to the ground, you know? That's all I'm saying. That's my kind of game.
So it sounds exciting.
Showing off this. The dev could watch this and be like, I thought they were going to talk about my game.
No, I honestly am really excited for this.
Yeah,
it looks really interesting.
It does look really cool. I'm excited for it. From there, we have a release date for The Last of Us Part 2.
The Last of Us Part 1 is free on PSN right now.
Yeah, that's a great game. If you've never played it, you absolutely should.
To go ahead and buy it since it's free.
It's got one of the best stories this decade. It's a really good story.
I've never played the game.
You missed the joke.
Oh man. Okay, I'll put it in Switch so that way Trey can deal with it a second time.
Please put it over there while I continue talking. So, The Last of Us Part 1, really good game. I got under a little bit of heat on Twitter. Because I put on there that I didn't think it really needed a sequel. That I was excited for the sequel, but that I didn't really think it needed a sequel, you know? And I got a little bit of heat on it. I got a couple DMs that were like, "Oh, what's wrong with you, man? It's gonna be great." It's like, well, yeah, it will be great, but I still stand by what I said. I don't think it needed a sequel. I think the story was complete, but I'm hyped for it regardless. It's like I made it through the first two, and then it was Ban's comment again that made me go, "Yep, that happened."
It's a great comment. It's fantastic.
It's really good. But Last of Us Part 2 comes out February 21st.
It's crazy.
Early release for the year, for next year. Probably going to dominate a lot of Game of the Year discussions right off the bat. Unless it turns out being bad, I think it probably will dominate a lot of those conversations right away.
Considering how well the first game went, I don't see it being bad. It may not be as good as the first game.
Yeah.
But I don't see how they could release a game that would be bad.
Yeah, I don't think they could either at this point. Like, you would
and
have
that's
to...
me not even playing the first one. Like, just from what I know of the game, there's no way that this game could be bad.
You would have to basically throw away the story that you had already built up for it to be bad.
You'd have to start a completely new story and say that it was about the first game.
There are things they could do that would ruin those characters for me. But the first game is just such a well-told story that I think it'd be really... That's a joke nobody is going to get, King. That is a joke no one is going to understand.
I don't get it, but it sounds like, or seems like it's funny.
I won't say who I'm quoting, because that'll give away the joke. But if you watch specific streams, then you will at one point have heard one of my personal heroes say, "I feel every strand of my princess's hair."
Oh boy.
So, that's not why he's one of my personal heroes.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he's one of those people, too, that, like, if you know who I'm talking about, you know what I mean. He, like, if I told him to his face he was one of my personal heroes, he would be, like, upset. He'd be like, no, I'm not. No. What? No. It's like, no, you are, though. I'm talking about Kyle Bossman. I won't say any more than that, but I'm talking about Kyle Bossman.
I'm not surprised.
But he absolutely would not be happy to find out he was somebody's personal hero.
If anybody walked up to me on a random day and was like, if you had to put $1 million on the line to say what Trey's hero is, who Trey's hero is, who would it be? And I'd be like, it's Kyle Bossman. And if they said I was wrong, I would be looking for Ashton Kutcher because I think I'd be punked.
Look, all I'm saying is Kyle Bossman makes the content he wants to make. He does the stuff he wants to do. And sometimes his jokes don't land, and he knows it. But it never lets him stop him from telling another joke. He's a dang good host. He's a dang good comedian. I really like his stuff. He's a good guy. All I'm saying. We should move on.
Where's the Mahler fanboy chat?
Look, all I'm saying, Mahler makes some good content. He's not afraid to make good content.
It's Mahler, let's be real.
He spends a lot of time explaining why something is the way that it is. You know, I'm just saying. He does a good job.
So what's this next thing? Because I know nothing.
So, how do you feel about ARGs?
Explain them.
So ARGs like Pokemon Go, or what's another big one? That Harry Potter game that
anime
you quit
role
playing. No, ARG is augmented reality game.
Oh, I like augmented reality.
So, how would you feel about Minecraft ARGs?
I'm here for it.
How would you feel about the idea of walking around the world collecting materials that are in the real world that are Minecraft blocks? So, like, you have your phone as you're walking around on the ground and in trees and stuff, you will see Minecraft blocks, and you can break them in the game to gain those materials. So far, it doesn't sound too bad, right?
Yeah, but I'm starting to get worried here.
That's because there's a big problem. And it's that when you get home, you can build with the stuff, but not wherever you want, and not whatever you want. You can only build specific stuff the game allows you to build, and you have to build it where it tells you to build.
All right, I'm out.
Also, once you get done building it, it's there for you, but it's not there for anybody else.
What?
So
they're missing out on the most golden opportunity to make a great game.
It's such a dumb idea to me. Because otherwise, can you imagine if you're just walking around with it and you see, like, you look up and it's, oh, there's the castle that Kyle bought. Man, somebody built, you know?
That
like
XXR man pig XX.
Yes,
made.
built. There you go. Like, man, that's a sick looking castle. Let's be honest, there'd be a lot of genitalia, but
that's probably why they didn't do it.
That's probably why they didn't do it. But I think the pros outweigh the cons.
I also think the pros outweigh the cons.
It would be so cool. And so, like, now I like keep hearing people get excited for this. I'm just like, I'm not excited. It has nothing for me. So, from there, we'll move on to 2K drama?
Yes. So, there is somebody in the 2K community, and when I say just 2K community, I'm referring to NBA 2K specifically. And it's a YouTuber, and his name is Agent 00. I've talked about him before. He's very popular.
Chad, you gotta stop making me laugh so
much. He's probably one of the most prominent YouTubers involved in Agent 00.
Okay.
He's probably the most well-known 2K YouTuber. At least one of. And he used to live in Canada. But he recently moved to the United States. And 2K has a event every year where they invite content creators, and some of them get scanned into the game. They get their logos put into the game. They get to try the game early. There's a lot of like cool stuff that happens for content creators. Agent 00 didn't get invited. And it's all because of what is now publicly known is a quarrel that's happening between him and Ronnie 2K. And Ronnie 2K is the most popular person when it comes to 2K in general.
Okay.
Like, if you were involved in NBA 2K in any way, you would know who Ronnie 2K is. He is in every game. He's the one that promotes the game the most. He has all the connections with the celebrities. Yeah. Ronnie 2K is basically the figurehead of NBA 2K.
I gotcha.
Well, he's been streaming himself playing 2K. And he's been saying things that you really shouldn't say about somebody.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about Agent 00's personal life.
That's not okay.
Absolutely. And part of it has to do with how he came to the United States. So most people know that whenever you come to the United States, one of the ways you can do that is by getting a visa.
Yeah.
And there's visas for people who are athletes, content creators, whether it be an actor, a musician,
photographer,
all different types of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that particular visa is the best visa possible that you can get because it gives you the most freedoms.
I gotcha.
While you're working towards becoming a citizen of the United States. And Agent 00 applied for that visa. The only reason I feel comfortable talking about this is because he vocalized it on his own channel because he wanted to set the record straight.
Okay.
Because Ronnie 2K on his stream, without consent from Agent 00, was saying that he's the reason why Agent 00 is in the United States, and that he's been nothing but ungrateful and wouldn't sign a contract that was supposedly a perfect contract that would have got his logo and his likeness put into the game.
Okay.
And all of this stuff that we are hearing from Agent 00 is completely false. And Agent 00 even went to say it was not that the contract was just not signed. It was that if I had signed that contract, it would have negatively, in his opinion, impacted what he could and couldn't create as far as content on his channel.
Okay.
And he told himself a long time ago that if he ever had to sign a contract that would change how or what he does when it comes to his content, that he wouldn't do it because he wants to stay true to himself.
Absolutely.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
I 110 respect that.
That's basically the same decision we've made.
Exactly. And that's why he refused to sign the contract.
Yeah.
And he said that's the only reason. It had nothing to do with Ronnie. It had nothing to do with the company. I did not want to sign a contract that would have to make me do something that I didn't feel like was me.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't. And he's like, a lot of people did sign the contract, a lot of people didn't. And a lot of the people that still didn't sign the contract got their likeness in the game, got invited to the events and everything.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And Ronnie was trying to make it out like I am the reason he's in the United States because I signed signed for his visa to help get his visa. And the way that you get this visa is you get in contact with other people, and they sign.
Somebody vouches for you and signs
exactly.
for you. Yeah.
Agent 00 came out and said that Ronnie's statement, his vouching became expired by the time he even got it.
Well, and like
so
even if it hadn't
use it,
even if it hadn't, how are you gonna
it's
be
not
like?
just him.
How are you gonna be like? Well, I'm the only reason he's famous. It's like no, he's the reason he's famous.
Yeah, and one sole person is not going to be the reason why he gets into this country.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he should have signed the contract simply because he helped him get into this country, when technically he didn't, because he couldn't use that vouch.
As King puts it, he wants him to just be an indentured servant, basically.
Exactly.
And I don't know the whole story. That's just what it sounds like to me.
And I mean, obviously the truth is always somewhere in between.
Yeah, always.
But the problem, even more so, is that Ronnie 2K has done nothing but proven that he's a liar the past several months when it comes to this game, because he would say things that were supposed to be happening or being done, and it never happened, and it never was even started.
Yeah.
And he always has this attitude of like, y'all are the community, but I'm your god. Basically, he's given himself a god complex. And I don't have any respect for Ronnie 2K. And I follow some of the developers on Twitter who have actually been voices for the community and trying to listen and have tried to help make the game better based on what the community says. But Ronnie 2K only listens to celebrities. Ronnie 2K will tell us something that's going to happen.
That sounds like YouTube.
Yeah. Mark Wing will literally come behind him and be like, yeah, that's not happening. Like, that's not real. Or like, oh, this is what we're doing. And it completely contradicts what Ronnie 2K said. Ronnie 2K has just been giving himself this god complex and expects everyone to just believe what he says now. And it's crazy to think how many people that are in the community watch Agent 00 because he's that popular. He has millions of subscribers. He is one of the faces of 2K, and he's being kicked to the curb.
I hate that you told me all this because the journalist in me wants to look up the whole story now. Wants to dig all of it down.
Man, I don't blame you. And the part of it that frustrates me is Agent 00 says things that, he probably shouldn't sometimes, but he prides himself on keeping his content in what he considers real, which is that he says what he means and he says what he thinks. And that if somebody's doing something wrong, like Ronnie 2K lying about something that's supposed to be in the game, he's going to call him out on it and say that this is a problem. We need to get it fixed.
Well, and I think the problem comes down to there's a lot of people that are just like that. That's I'm the content creator, so I'm the important one. Even if it's not true, if I say it is, it could become true. And it's like, no, it's not how this works. You as the content creator do not exist without the viewers to watch your content. You can make it all day, forever. We made podcasts for the first year almost with less than 20 subscribers. But when you are making content, you're supposed to be making content you want people to watch. In turn, the viewers watch your content and critique your content, and together you start making good stuff. It's the same thing with movies and movie critics. Yep. Movie critics don't exist without movie producers, right? Without movie makers. Movie makers can't exist without critics either. Yes, they can make movies, but without critics to tell them what was a mistake and what wasn't, they'll just keep making the same mistake over and over again. You have to listen to your critics. Like, you have to learn from your mistakes. And when you don't think you're making mistakes, ever, you're not ever learning from them.
And see, like, the worst part is like, part of me wants to say, like, okay, 2K is a company. If I had the power and I was the man in charge, I'd get rid of them and just solve the problem, right?
Right.
But that doesn't solve the problem. No. And the reason why I say that is because Ronnie 2K is the most popular person at 2K, right? So a lot of famous people only get involved with 2K because of Ronnie.
Yeah.
And if you don't have Ronnie and he starts spreading lies about what's going on behind the scenes,
then you lose all that business.
2K, exactly. And that's the scary part. So I'm sure, 2K already is in plenty of dilemmas, but I'm sure they're in a big dilemma with this now too, because they're in a situation where they know Ronnie's been lying. Ronnie's literally been putting out false content on his Twitter page for months. Bless you.
Thank you. You heard that, but the viewers did not.
Bless you. You're kind of making me want to sneeze. Yeah, they know that he's been lying for months. But what do you do? Like, what are you gonna do? And it's frustrating. I'd be lying if I said this was a better 2K. I think that some of the things that they've done in this 2K are bad.
Okay.
And I've kind of voiced that already. I have a more full assessment of the game, so if you want, I can talk about that later. I can talk about it another day.
We do still have some more news to go through, and we're getting close to time. I mean, I don't have to stop at time, but I know you don't
necessarily have to either.
Oh,
I got a little bit of time. I'll try to end this right now. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that Ronnie 2K, I don't think is benefiting the company right now with what he's doing, and I hope that he sees that and has a reality check.
Yeah.
Because the entire community could turn on him in an instant, because that's how the internet is.
Yes, that's absolutely how the internet works.
And he needs to realize that he's on thin ice, because one of the most famous faces of 2K is having to come out on Twitter and say, don't make me pull out your garbage since you're trying to pull out mine, because I have receipts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
basically, were we to ask the Ardanian guard from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 what he thinks about this whole situation, he would say, "Yup, done." Exactly. I feel so bad for you and Andrew both that have to put up with me playing around with the soundboard during the podcast, because you don't hear it. Spoilers for everybody out there. They don't hear it.
I still assume that it's fantastic, so I have no reason not to agree with your emotion. And when I watch it later, I'm gonna know, yeah, that was fantastic. I'm glad I reacted that way.
Sock it to them.
So, we'll move on. We have a new trailer for Guilty Gear.
Hey.
That is the May trailer.
I need to look this up because your boy's interested.
And also shows off Axel Lowe. And I'm excited for you to look this up, Pat, because this game only continues to look better and better. And I'm not just talking about gameplay-wise. I mean, already it's Guilty Gear, right? It's always, the music's still great, right? I'm talking visual-wise. It continues to look better and better.
Not surprised in the slightest. Let me make sure this is in 1080p.
Yes, please. Curious your thoughts.
Gosh, I freaking love this song so much. May looks so good.
Yeah, baby.
Let's rock. Yes!
May looks really good, right?
May looks fantastic. I'd be here. Wait a minute.
She's grown up. She's got a great hat now.
Wait a minute.
How good he looks.
Axel Lowe.
Look how good he looks.
Oh, man.
So there are...
That was great.
There are people upset because he's not wearing his jorts anymore.
Get over yourself.
I think he looks...
Get over yourself.
He looks so good, man.
He does.
He
looks great. And
the whole
honestly,
game looks great, right? But
that moment was so hype. I was like, who could this be? What the heck? And then all of a sudden, Axel Lowe.
I cannot wait to see the rest of the new design. Because, like, what I love so much about it is the gears probably haven't changed that much. Like, Soul is still Soul, right? He's barely changed at all. But Kai has changed. May has obviously changed. She's grown up now. Her hat looks amazing. Axel has changed. I want to know, what does Chip look like now? What does Answer look like now? What is, what's Slayer look like now?
I want to know if the song is on Spotify. Because I'm about to add it to a playlist.
But there is a YouTube version that's 30 minutes long that just loops it. I've listened to that a few times, I won't lie.
I'm sure when the game releases, it will be.
Daisuke Ishibatari does such a good job with soundtracks. I want to make a video just on... Like, I've talked about for a while making a video on some of my favorite music and everything, right? Kamen Rider, Tokusatsu, video games, movies, anime. I almost said manga. There's no music in manga. But,
like, besides the music in your head.
The music in your heart. But, Daisuke Ishibatari does such a good job. Zeke, what are you doing? With music that I cannot help but love it. Zeke, stop. Lay down or go. What are you doing?
He's scratching, Dad.
The floor is shaking. Like, he won't leave his back alone. But, yeah.
I might have to get a cone for his butt.
Might have to. And, like, it's got the medicine on there. He can't hurt it anymore, but, like, he doesn't stop. I don't know why.
It's probably just uncomfortable to him.
I'm sure. He probably doesn't like having that cream on there.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Daisuke Ishibatari does such a great job with soundtrack. That's all I'm trying to say. You should listen to him. So, moving on from there. Hey, Pat. I don't think we'll talk about this for very long. You still excited for Death Stranding?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the baby being able to speak through your controller to you?
I'm terrified.
Yeah, that's a horrifying idea, right?
In the best possible way, I'm terrified.
You're going to be playing and everything's going to be going great and you're just going to hear...
Yeah, and I'm literally going to throw my controller across the room. It's going to have to go back to the Wii days where they have to have the strap, because otherwise you're just like, ah!
What's that noise? Yeah, it's... Kojima didn't say anything else about it other than just, hey, that's what happens. The controller...
Be prepared.
Yeah, pretty much. Mentally
Don't
prepare
freak
yourself. So from there, it's just, we had to cover it. It's just such a weird thing. Bobby Price. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
For anybody who doesn't, he is the guy who came up with the soundtrack for... See, look how bad it looks. I keep getting distracted because it looks so bad. But, like, he's fine.
I mean, it has to be that way, unfortunately.
Yeah. Stupid. If you hadn't set in oil, none of this would have happened. Go. Go lay down. Go.
Okay, I'll live back here.
So, Bobby Price came up with the soundtracks for Duke Nukem, Wolfenstein, a couple other old games, right? And at some point, Gearbox stopped paying him to use that soundtrack. Supposedly. I don't have proof on that. But he claims it. And he has denounced Valve because he asked Valve to take the games down since they wouldn't pay him for his soundtrack, and they would not do it. And now he is suing Gearbox and Randy Pitchford because he wants his money.
Now, I don't feel like Valve really has a card in this game. I mean, I might be wrong.
So here's the thing. If he wins this lawsuit, which he might, he can then get damages from Valve as well because they wouldn't take the games down when he asked them to.
But I feel like, I might not understand the full
Because you're
situation.
That is a good line from Char.
But I feel like Valve doesn't really have it's not their responsibility to pay him for the music.
No.
Whenever it's in the game.
But if he really does own the rights to the music, and he told them they cannot sell it without him okaying it to be sold, then Valve is breaching copyright.
But do they know that it's copyrighted?
He says he informed them of it and showed proof. That's what he says. Again, the problem is because it's gone to a lawsuit already, we don't have that public knowledge information now. We would have if it had just started as denounced and he'd showed papers. But he took his receipts and he went straight to court.
So now we have to wait for the report. Because if he couldn't fully prove that to Valve, Valve will probably fine.
I don't think so. If he wins the suit. If he wins the suit, Valve is responsible too.
Well, if he wins, but he can't prove that Valve knew that
If he's won the suit, all he has to say is, I showed them the same information that I showed you, Your Honor, and they did not comply.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess so.
And then the judge will go, that information was good enough for me. If it's not good enough for them, well, then they have to pay damages.
So,
he claims, King, that they promised him payment and then never did. That basically he was promised $1 per purchase of the game if it had his soundtrack in there. And that he did not see that money. Now, knowing Gearbox's kind of shady history when it comes to deals and money that they owe people and money that they get from people, and that they somehow got away with stealing a bunch of Sega's money they were supposed to use on Aliens, Colonial Marines, and putting into Borderlands 1. Again, not proven, but like 98% sure. It would not surprise me one bit if Randy Pitchford did not pay him those royalties.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Randy
I have
Pitchford,
mixed feelings, though.
As we well know, piece of human garbage. Would not surprise me at all if he did not pay Mr. Bobby Price to use his music, his royalties then. But what are your mixed feelings about it? Hit me with it.
Now hear me out, okay? I don't want to catch hate too fast.
Okay.
Part of me is like, Bobby Price needs his money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his stuff.
Especially since Borderlands 3 has made gangbusters.
Exactly. He deserves it. He deserves the money. The other part of me is, if Valve loses money,
yeah,
there's definitely no chance we're getting another Left 4 Dead game.
That's not true. Valve is making so much money right now. Money is not the reason we haven't got a Left 4 Dead game. Valve not developing games is the reason why we haven't got another Left 4 Dead game.
They could just give the project to someone else.
Valve is printing money every day.
Okay, I take it back then. Bobby Price needs to get his money. And Valve, stop being stingy and give me my game!
See, what it comes down to is, if he's wrong, right, and he does not deserve that money legally, then what has happened is Randy Pitchford's name has been dragged through the mud again, and Valve will reevaluate how they work with copyright. Because I also understand where Valve is coming at, right? The idea that, well, we can't just take those games down that we're selling because this guy wants his money. But if legally he did not get his money, and he legally deserves that money, somebody's got to pay him.
Yeah.
It's going to come out of Mr. Randy Pitchford, I'm going to send out tweets about how, thank goodness I don't have to work a job like the rest of you little people do, who has so much money, it would not hurt him at all to pay this man. And honestly, it never should have got to this point. It should have got to the point where where Bobby Price said, hey, never got my money, and Randy Pitchford went, okay, here's your money. It never should have got to this point. But if he wins, Gearbox will have to pay him, Randy Pitchford will have to pay him, and Valve will have to pay him. And honestly, the man needs to get his money is my current opinion on it until I see more information. And I again, the journalist in me wants to know the full story. As soon as that report is written up where I can see it, as soon as the legal papers come out, I'm going to study those things. Well documented on this podcast that I love to study me some legalese. But until I see more information, I think this man needs to be paid.
All I'm saying is Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah.
Look. This is how they announce it. Okay,
I feel like a new one. Every podcast we talk about Left 4 Dead 3.
I've got a new one. So it's still the 4, and then it turns to 3 because like a finger falls off, or it turns to 3 or whatever. Yeah. And all you hear is a whisper, and it's like, "My friends call me Coach."
And in the distance, you hear somebody go, "Pills here!"
Yeah, Pills here.
All right.
I just want my game, man.
We'll move on to the...
Let me find Valve's email.
We'll move on to the Daemon X Machina roadmap. Because they have announced the roadmap for Daemon X Machina and what's going to be coming in the form of free updates. In October 10th, there will be a new battle mode added for online battles. Or at least it seems like online battles. 1v1s and 2v2s, as well as a bounty ranking system. Sure, that sounds cool. In early November, there will be 3 crossover collaborations. Now, they do not say with who. But I want to ask chat and you, Pattrick, and then I will give my thoughts. Who do you want to see cross over with Daemon X Machina? What mech show or game or whatever do you want to see cross over to get some sick mech parts?
I mean, I feel like you know my answer.
Gunbuster.
Absolutely.
Gunbuster.
I was actually gonna say Iron Blooded Orphans.
Oh, that's also a good one.
But Gunbuster is easily a great option.
Yeah. Also, chat, while you're at it, tell Pat he should watch more Gundam. Yeah, for sure. I would love to see some Galgagar. I think more likely we're probably going to get video games. So probably like Gundam, I would think for sure has to happen at some point. Armored Core, I think would probably make sense. No, I mean, I know what you guys want. You guys wanted to cross over with some Gundam. Xenogears would make a lot of sense. I think they could do something with Full Metal Panic. What I expect to happen is probably going to be like Kantai Collection because it's really popular, even though it has nothing to do with mecha. But I hope we get some cool mecha crossovers. I really hope we do. So, in about 15 seconds, there it is. It got there faster than I thought. I was going to say in about 15 seconds, we're going to get chat telling you to watch more Gundam. In late November, there will be co-op play added. Armor Trooper Voto's parts? It already slides around on the ground? Let me play a Scope Dog in Daemon X Machina! I want that so badly now. As well as new bosses and weapons and armor. And then in December, there will be additional reclaimers for play with co-op, new weapons and armor, and other elements under construction, with some more expansions and updates to come, most likely. So, there's some cool stuff coming to Daemon X Machina. Glad to see that they're planning on supporting the game for a while, too.
I'm doing something very interesting.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's actually going to care. But
okay.
I have found out who the director of Left 4 Dead 2 was. And I have his contact information.
I will tell you right now, that man does not get to choose if they make another one or not.
I know, but this is the best lead I got. I'm currently going to send this man an email.
Just make sure you spend at least a part of it telling him how much you enjoy Left 4 Dead 2. So that it's not a complete waste of his time.
I'm literally like, hey, I'm going to start this off by letting you know that Left 4 Dead 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And then tell him how much I appreciate his work. And then ask him, knowing that it's a long shot, if he could somehow just push it up the ranks and give us a chance for Left 4 Dead 3.
That man is going to regret ever putting his email on the internet.
It's fine.
You do have to update us next week on what he says, though.
If he says anything at all.
Yeah. So, there's an update coming to the Nether in Minecraft.
Oh boy.
They want to make it an actual area instead of just death. With new mobs, new materials, new stuff, you know. So, there is that. There is that.
Oh, I could ask him for an interview.
If you could get him on, yeah, I'd be super down for that.
Could you imagine? It won't happen. I'm not gonna get overhyped. I'm sorry I interrupted. It won't happen.
We tried to get Jason Schreier on at one point and it didn't happen. Much as I don't like the man, I respect his work, as we talked about last week. One day we'll get somebody on this podcast to interview him. World War Z is currently Jin's Left 4 Dead 3 because Left 4 Dead 3 is not happening. I understand.
That's fair.
Also, Ban pointed out, Pat, it'd be rude if you didn't watch your co-host content. And since Shar is our co-host today, you should watch more Gundam so that you're not being rude to Shar.
Fair enough. I will get on that immediately.
So, there's an update coming to the Nether in Minecraft to make it an actual area that'll have new stuff in it, as well as events, NPCs, new areas in the Nether. It sounds pretty cool. That's all we know about it so far, but I thought it was a cool idea. I figured we'd mention it. And then Chad is all in on this idea. Naughty Dog has been taking some heat for Left 4 Dead Online. Left 4 Dead. Last of Us Online. Dang it, Pat. People aren't happy that the online function won't be returning because people like that multiplayer. And so Naughty Dog has stated that they will be making a separate game with the multiplayer. So on the one hand, that's great, right? Because it means they're dedicating everything to the single player. But on the other hand, does that mean they pulled people off the single player to make this multiplayer game?
Probably.
So, if you don't ask, he can't say yes. That is true. Chad is all in on this, Pat. You need to ask him, I guess.
I'm going to ask him. It'll be one of the last things I say in the email. But right now I'm writing a paragraph about how much I appreciate his work.
You could, I'm just spitballing here. You could wait to finish that email until after we're done with the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, they are making a separate online mode, or online game, that is, for people that still want that, because people were pretty upset. Which is a little weird to me, because it feels like just last year, the conversation was, make more single-player, less multiplayer games. And now it's, hey, no, don't make just a single-player game. Add your tacked-on multiplayer mode back to it. And it's like, it just goes to, serve that you can't make everybody happy.
True. That's very true. It's an unfortunate truth that you cannot make everybody happy, especially when it comes to the internet.
Yeah. So, from there, we'll go into plugs.
I have a plug.
What's your plug?
I'm going to plug Minilad.
Okay.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it again. I think that he is a wholesome content creator, and I support him, and he's the only famous person I've ever met so far that has told me happy birthday on my birthday.
Well, there you go.
So my girlfriend was really upset because he told me happy birthday on a live stream, and she was just like, she saw me fanboying like super hard. She was like, I tell you happy birthday and I give you an actual gift, and you don't act like that when I give you that.
Tell her.
This guy you've never met in real life tells you happy birthday, and you do this.
Tell her, honey, you don't have this many followers. You must have this many subscribers for me to be happy when you tell me happy birthday. Oh, no, that's really cool though.
Yeah. I really wish I could have gone on his tour, gone to watch his tour, but I really couldn't afford it whenever he released it, and I'm really sad. But I hope he does a tour eventually again, and if he does, I definitely will.
I understand. Well, I will plug Red Letter Media. I have been watching The Best of the Worst again, which is where they they watch terrible movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking absolutely terrible movies, and then have to choose which of the 3 terrible movies that they watch was the best one. Each episode.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, and they're really funny. Rich Evans might be one of the funniest people on the internet, which is a shame because nobody talks about him ever. But his laugh also gives me life. So, there's that.
I need to see if there's a YouTube video of just his laugh.
I guarantee you there is.
You said it's Rich Evans?
Yes.
That's literally the first thing that comes up when you type in Rich Evans.
I felt like it would.
Rich Evans laugh compilation.
Yes. Listen to his laugh real quick and just get to see that it is like a gift almost every time you get it. Other than that, say what you will, chat. I'm gonna plug the Every Frame of Pause podcast, hosted by Mahler and Rex. It's a good podcast, and episode 54 just went up. So check it out. It's really good. The last thing, and I forgot to talk about this in my week. Have you heard him laugh yet?
It's pretty great.
Okay, good. Just making sure. The last thing that I want to bring up is that I've been listening to an audiobook on my commute to and from work.
Hey.
And it is the first audiobook the first book, I guess, in the Expanse series. It's science fiction, and it's pretty good so far. I really like it. So, I'm gonna plug that. It's pretty good.
I just want to say, there's nothing better, and I'm sure you can relate to this. There's nothing better than a podcast, or I would assume it's the same for like a chapter, or if not the whole book, ending right as you get into your driveway.
Yes, that's a
like
good
you pull
feeling.
up and park, and then it's just like, and that's all we have for today, and you're just like, oh.
Yes, that is a
Yes,
good
it is.
feeling. It's also the worst feeling when you get home and you're like almost done with a chapter, but you just got home, and you're like, oh, I gotta stop here, but people are getting shot at. And you're like, but I can't stop here.
I always I'll like pause it on my phone, turn off the car, and then start playing it and just listen to it while I'm like trying to carry in whatever it is that I went out and got. So I'm just like fumbling around with my phone, or I'll leave it in my frocket if I have one, and I'll just like listen to it like this as I'm trying to unlock the door.
There are times that I will go past my house a little ways and turn around and come back. Just to finish it. Because I know if I'm getting home, I'm going to get distracted. But that way I can finish that chapter,
That's great.
But I've also been listening to the Bonfire Side Chat podcast. They just finished up Sekiro. You do have to support their Patreon to get the Bonfire Side Chat Sekiro stuff. Because podcasting is what they do full time now. They don't do YouTube. They just do podcasts. And they put out like 14 podcasts a week.
Wow.
Like, they are serious about it. And what I recommend for people, because I've had a lot of people tell me, well, I don't want to support them on Patreon to get their podcast. At the end of the show, which it has just ended, put $5 down, download the whole catalog, only have it for a month, and you got everything. $5. There you go. But they had a lot of thoughts on Sekiro, and some of them I thought, hey, I agree with that. That's a good way to look at it. And I did use some of their perspectives. I got that right. I don't know why I thought I didn't. In the review, because they changed my perspective. But there was also stuff I didn't agree with them on, but it was fun. And the stuff that they get for free that you'll get, like Watch Out for Fireballs, is really good. So you should check it out.
I love podcasts.
I do too. Is there anything else that we might have forgotten, Pattrick?
Not that I can think of. I wish we could have done a topic, but normally we can't do a topic because we just rant or get off topic at the last. We basically have mini topics.
Yes. I would be down for a quick topic if you wanted. You have time for it?
I would love to. I just got a text asking me where I'm at.
You're good. You're good. With that in mind, then, stuff for the week coming up. We will have probably tomorrow will be the surprise project that I was working on Twitter. I guess I can announce it now. I recorded my thoughts on the Super NES Online, the SNES Online stuff for Nintendo Switch Online. I've played for a little bit. I played every single game on there. Just to be able to talk about them and show them off a little bit, even the ones I'd never heard of. Sometime this week, the ranking video for either Zelda games, or the FF14 Dungeons will go up. The FF14 Dungeons one, I still have to edit. That one took me almost 3.5 hours to record. There's 72 dungeons in the game, and I had to talk about each and every one of them. But I will tell you, the Zelda one is way shorter, and I was really surprised by how quickly my thoughts came together on the Zelda games. So that one may be disappointing. So we may try and wrap that in longer videos to make that a little bit more comfortable. Another episode of Fire Emblem will go up this week, and then hopefully a job breakdown for FF14 will go up this week. But let me know, too, what games you'd like to see covered in In the Zone. The In the Zone video did pretty well, which tells me people want that series to come back. So we may do some more in Bloodborne. We may check out a Sekiro zone. There's one I really want to show off that is big spoilers, but I really like that zone. Problem is, I have to get past the Guardian Ape to get there. So that I might just start a new file and not have to do it on New Game Plus. And try to get there, but we'll see. Regardless, though, with all that said, I have been Trey.
And I've been Pattrick.
And this has been Shar. And Shar, do you have anything to say about that?
That's impossible. That was a direct hit.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Shar. But next week, I will not be here. It will be Pat and Andrew, most likely. Unless things go really bad. Me. And then it'll be just Pat and me whenever I get home to join in, if at all possible. But until next time, remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. Life has to offer.